This is the LG V20, the successor to the LG V10 from last year. This phone is really a dying breed. So not only does it feature a headphone jack, but it features a removable back cover with a removable battery. And as many of you know by now, Apple 86 the headphone jack in the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus, and Samsung 86 the removable battery more than a year ago in its flagship smartphones. The LG V20 is also the very first Android smartphone to ship with Android 7.0 Nougat, the most recent version of Android, and you can also tell that LG is serious about audio as they have included the world's first quad DAC inside the V20. They have also included a pair of really nice earphones along with the purchase of the LG V20. These are the H3 earphones by B&O. These things retail for $150 to $200 on their own, so I'm looking forward to testing these out. So to get inside the box, all we need to do is slide off the outer shell and fold open the compartments. The presentation is pretty unique with the V20. You'll see that the phone is off to the left-hand side. In the middle, we have a fast charging wall wart and USB Type-C cable, and there's also a separate compartment for the 3200 mAh battery, which we'll have to install later. But I do kind of like this fold open presentation here. Now, if we take all of the plastic wrap off of the LG V20, we'll see and feel a design kind of similar to the LG G5. While the back cover is made of metal, it still feels a lot like plastic. Likely that is because it features a thick coat of paint. The phone is also extremely slippery upon first impressions, so I would recommend a wrap or a case if you do decide to pick up this phone. The back cover does pop off. There's a little button you can press to eject the cover, and you'll really be able to see that the back cover is constructed of metal. But under the hood, you have the option to swap out the 3200 mAh battery and insert a SIM card and a microSD card for expandable storage. It's really nice to see all of these features here. It's not every day you see a removable battery, a removable back cover, and microSD card slot. The LG V20 does feature a beautiful 5.7-inch IPS LCD display with a QHD resolution and Corning Gorilla Glass 4. It did come with a screen protector pre-installed, but I did remove it for reviewing purposes. I'm not a big fan of screen protectors, as many of you guys know. And while I do prefer AMOLED panels and would like LG to ditch LCD panels in favor of AMOLED panels in the future, previously the LG G Flex and G Flex 2 opted in with an OLED panel, I do think this is one of the best looking LCD panels on the market. Colors are very saturated and blacks are very true to color, not as impressive as an AMOLED panel, but certainly more so than most LCD panels. The second display on top, which is used to view notifications and various information, as well as to access quick settings, it also appears to be an AMOLED panel upon first impressions, but it's not. It too is an LCD panel that features a 160 by 1040 resolution and a really pixel-dense 513 pixel per inch index. Alright, so the LG V20 is running Android 7.0 Nougat out of the box, and one of the first things that I experimented with when the phone booted up was the multitasking. You just open up the multi-view tray, you drag an open app up to the top of the screen and select the second app you want to run alongside the first app, and boom, it's really that easy. It's all buttery smooth. The V20 has the same general skin found on the LG G5. It's a relatively new skin for LG smartphones that feels pretty lightweight in my opinion. It feels much more responsive than the software we'd find in LG smartphones of 2015 and before. It genuinely feels like stock Android, but it looks like LG UX 5.0, which is what it is. There's no app drawer and many of the icons are custom. There's also a plethora of LG features not found in stock Android, such as themes and shortcut actions. Now, I touched on this earlier, but the phone really does fly. It's being powered by a Snapdragon 820 processor with 4GB of RAM, so it has plenty of power to compete with the other flagships on the market. There is a fingerprint scanner on the rear of the smartphone that doubles as a power sleep on-off button. While the fingerprint scanner doesn't feel as cheap as the LG G5, it does feel a tad bit loose and flimsy when the button is pressed or touched, but with that said, the scanner unlocks the phone very quickly. No complaints there. LG has adopted the LG G5's dual camera system with the LG V20. It too features dual camera sensors. There's one 16 megapixel camera sensor with an f1.8 aperture, optical image stabilization, and a hybrid autofocus, and there is one wide-angle 8 megapixel sensor with an f2.4 aperture. And on the front of the smartphone, we no longer have two sensors, just one 5 megapixel camera sensor, but it does have a software trick that lets you toggle between a wide-angle and a telephoto view. So those that loved the super wide-angle sensor in the V10 should still love this single front-facing sensor on the V20. The image quality of the 16 megapixel main camera sensor is pretty impressive. LG's flagships have always really competed well against Samsung's and Apple's flagship smartphones, and I think the LG V20 sensor is no exception. But the sensor that captures the best images is of course the main 16 megapixel shooter. It does better in low light than the wide angle sensor, which really depends upon a well-lit environment. But if you're outside, for example, you can capture some amazing wide-angle shots. Regardless, it's always nice to have options, and I do love the wide-angle sensor here. One of the biggest disappointments is the speaker. There's a bottom-facing speaker that can be easily covered up. It's not particularly loud or crisp. It's pretty weak in sound. But on the flip side, the LG V20 has the absolute best DAC, the best DAC headphone amplifier of any smartphone, period. You plug in a nice set of wired headphones like the H3s by B&O and you're gonna be impressed. Add in the fact that there's 64 gigabytes of onboard storage and the ability to insert a microSD card for expandable storage. I think the LG V20 is probably going to be the phone to beat for audiophiles in 2016. Another important department is battery life. The LG V20 features a 3200 mAh battery, which is larger than the 3000 mAh battery found in the V10. If I remember right, the LG V10 was able to last me anywhere between 3 and 4 hours of screen on time or active usage without a bunch of background applications running. So I expect the V20 to provide similar results, probably slightly better results with the slightly larger battery. What is neat about the V10 and V20 is that you can just pick up a spare battery and pop it in when the installed battery is running low. It's a feature that you really don't see often these days, yet it can prove to be very useful. I mean, if the Note 7 had this feature, I would bet you that Samsung would be in a much better situation right now than they currently are in. I mean, they would still probably need to issue a recall, but I highly doubt it would cost them $1 billion+ to settle. So we have the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, the Note 7, the soon-to-be Nexus or Pixel smartphone from Google. Where does the LG V20 fit in between all of these devices? It really appears to be made for the die-hard Android user. It runs the latest version of Android, it features expandable storage, a removable battery, and of course, plenty of essential features like a capable camera, fast processor, beautiful display, etc. It doesn't feature waterproofing or wireless charging, but it does feature a headphone jack and an impressive DAC headphone amplifier. If these features sound intriguing to you, you might want to seriously consider the LG V20, which will be on the market very soon. In the meantime, you can subscribe to be notified of our full review. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you are brand new. As always, I'm BoHD from PhoneDog.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you right back here in the next one. See ya.